It's a number 4 project entitled How to Say It. The speaker is to use words and arrangements of words that effectively communicate his message to the audience. Sentence and paragraph construction should be short and simple. The title is, What is an Idiom? Please join with me in giving a warm welcome to Ralph Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters, and our guests. I've heard it said that if English is not your native tongue, that it's one of the hardest languages there is to learn. And I don't doubt that for a minute, for all the words we have that are pronounced the same, but have a different meaning. All the cliches and idioms that we use. Now, we all know what cliches are. They're old, worn-out phrases that become trite. For example, when it rains, it pours. Tougher than a boot. Higher than a kite. But what in the world is an idiom? Webster says, and it takes about as much effort to interpret the meaning as learning the meaning. Webster says the language or dialect of a people, region, or class. The usual way in which words of a particular language are joined together to express thought. An accepted phrase, construction, or expression contrary to the usual patterns of language or having a meaning different from the literal. For example, lend me your ear. Now, can you imagine a foreigner in a room with just enough English to carry on a conversation? I'll say, lend me your ear. Or as I walked by the food bar, something caught my eye. If someone's cut out to cut up, shouldn't he or she really cut it out? If a yellow dog contract is nothing but a pig in a poke, one that promises pie in the sky, can a wildcat strike be called? I know everybody understands that.
Yeah.
When a young mother puts her children down, is she tucking them into bed or is she criticizing them?
There she is.
How does one explain such weird and wonderful expressions in a language as rich as English to a foreigner? Well, of course you can't. At least not very easy. But according to the guardians of our language, it's part and parcel the definition of an idiom. Nonetheless, most grammarians and linguists do agree that idioms are peculiar, spread throughout, approved by usage only, and do not mean what they say. For a wallflower is certainly not found on wallpaper. No more than hot dogs go around with their tongues sticking out. Red tape is not something sticky wrapped on a spoon. And a wet blanket at a beach party, is certainly not bed clothing left too close to the water. how illogical all these sayings are, yet how drab our speech would be without these sprinklings of idioms. Now, the idioms, of course, some idioms now are cliches, and so some Puritans try to weed them out, and others prefer to pull them up and examine the origin. For example, bag and baggage. That's Army talk. Refers to Army property. A bag contains a soldier's personal property or gear. In maneuvers of war, they're moved out together, including guns, which used to be composed of lock, stock, and barrel. Thus, when we speak of a total of something, we may say lock, stock, and barrel. The expression down and out used to be referred to prize fighters when they hit the mallet. The mallet. Mat. I have a hard time, and English is my native. But now we refer to down and out, hard on your luck. The seafaring British have provided us with many salty idioms. Touch and go. We use touch and go to be careful, but on a ship, the keel is, if you're feeling along to see if you're going to hit ground, it's touch and go. High and dry, the tide goes out and leaves your boat. You're high and dry. Taken aback is referred to a sail that's set in the position to hold your ship. Giving a person a wide berth, of course, the ship needs a wide berth to turn. But we refer to it, better give that old boy a wide berth. He's tough. He's mean. Argument has its own idioms. A bone of contention probably suggests dogs squabbling over a bone. When peace is made, contestants bury the hatchet. That probably came from the Indians. They buried the hatchet, but I don't think it was in the head. I think they buried it in the ground. If something is humiliating, it may involve eating crow, which come from an ancient association of the crow with unpleasantness or strife. To do a number probably came from an old vaudeville show. We take it a little further. If you do a number on somebody, you probably cheated them. Girls are likely not only to make up their faces, but to make up tests at school after having to make up an excuse of why she did. For missing the test the first place, and after the fight, of course, they all feel free to kiss and make up. We put up money for a rainy day. We put up boring visitors. We put up with boring speeches. We put up with guests. My mother used to put up peaches. Now, how can you explain such a language? Well, you can't really. But we all cherish a language that lets us call someone a bonehead, fathead, hothead, egghead, skinhead, turncoat, a diehard, a dropout, an upstart, a copycat. And later, of course, one can do the obvious and curry favor. Apple polish and makeup. I need to stop it. I'm about to get in over my head.